Well, we in our benchmarking have a set of 50 best practices. But those best practices, we did not invent them. We, in a sense, aggregated them from lots and lots of prior research. And in fact, one of the most important R&D project portfolio management benchmarking studies was conducted by Robert Cooper, last year's keynote speaker, and his colleagues back in the 1990s with the Industrial Research Institute. And one of the best practices, in fact, our very first best practice among the 50, is accept the three overarching objectives of project portfolio management. Number one, strategic alignment. Number two, strategic balance. And number three, maximum return. Those are basically 3 chapters out of Cooper's book, Portfolio Management for New Product Development. So we've very openly borrowed and taken the best we could find of previous best practice research and integrated that into our best practice categories. Now it's interesting to go back to Cooper's 3 objectives. I think most people have an idea of what maximum return means. I have a fixed headcount, I have a fixed budget. How do I get more good business results out? That's, in a sense, maximizing financial return. But part of Cooper's research said if you only run your portfolio to maximize financial return, you'll actually not achieve the best business results. And that's why the other 2 objectives are there, strategic alignment and strategic balance. These 2 are a little less clear what they actually mean than maximum return. You don't have a nice, handy financial metric to measure. Of these, the least tangible, if you will, the hardest to get your hands around is what is strategic balance? And I like to say balance is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. Each person can look at the portfolio from his or her point of view and say, does that seem well balanced to me? For example, an executive vice president at Hewlett-Packard, where I worked for a number of years, said, I want to make sure that 10% of our R&D is on really new breakthrough projects. You can take the 90% and improve the current products, make minor modifications, make significant modifications, but let's spend 10% on the breakthroughs that will make our future. That was part of his idea of maintaining a balance between the long term, the medium term, and the short term. You can think of balance as where management gets a little wiggle room. They can say, look, this is what I think we have to do. Let's set up a bucket for those early stage projects. Let's set up a bucket for developing country pharmaceuticals, vaccines to save children in Africa, whatever it might be that wouldn't make the cut on pure profitability, but will make us a better company. So that's a bit about balance. Now, strategic alignment. That seems a little more tangible, and yet, as I said elsewhere in this interview, companies admit we're not doing a very good job of it. We don't quite understand how to do it. Some people think you can inspect strategic alignment in other words, you can create a portfolio and then test it for strategic alignment. And in the quality movement, they showed that you cannot inspect quality in to a product with a lot of defects. You have to design the defects out in the beginning. Well, the analogy here in project portfolio management is you need to build strategic alignment in the creation of projects that will execute and implement your strategy, not try to inspect later whether you included them. So I very much believe that strategic alignment has to be driven on the front end of creating the set of projects for consideration, which are only then subjected to value and balance testing.